Anonymous Super Baller. Uh, just looking over YouTube today, and it's amazing how many videos there are out on LeBron James. Almost like they dug a ditch, pushed him in, and now they're putting the dirt on top of him. It's interesting to see, it's across the board. It's like Father Time is catching up with LeBron. They're going at him pretty tough. The three-point shooting is not working out right now, and I don't know. I just find it interesting. So I just thought I would give a couple thoughts. Once again, I understand. Like for the last game that he had, it was a tough outing. They lost pretty big to Minnesota, but it's like people are ignoring all the circumstances. Like 3 games in 4 nights, and them being shorthanded against the Jazz, and the fatigue with that, and then you fly right into Minnesota. You arrive at 3 in the morning, and and then you have to come, right back out and try and perform again. But I mean, that's just the nature of things. That's what he signed up for, and of course, with me just now getting into YouTube, I'm understanding the content monster. You just need stuff to create content off of. I mean, I understood it before, but I guess a few percentages more, in my understanding. But of course, it's like everybody is going against LeBron. Everybody is talking about retirement, and he's not what he used to be, and all this stuff. With me, I have a different perspective, and it's not like I'm trying to just be the different guy and all that stuff. I just do see it a different way naturally. And what my style is, I have remedies. If there's something going on, what's the answer? What do you do? And of course, for LeBron, most of it has probably been taken care of. He got into Miami and got some rest. He got hydrated, he got a good meal, and got some good sleep in. So that'll take care of a lot of it. And another part that will play a factor is just his motivation. I guess he hasn't been on social media, but it's probably everywhere. People, just a little bad stretch, and people are trying to write him off. So of course he's gonna have a little motivation there. With me, I said one of my objectives is to try and help LeBron. Well, I say be the GOAT, but to be the best that he can be at this stage in his career. And so, I said that I had mapped it out, which is true. But as far as what I'm trying to do, I want to spread it out over time. Every time, everything that you implement, you want to do it in steps. You don't want to try and pour everything on at once, because part of it is if you have a step, you incorporate it, and then you try and make it a regular thing, not a one-time thing. You incorporate it into your game, and then you let some time pass and see if is it really part of your game, or did you just do it for a game or two, and then you're back to what you usually do. And once again, I mean, if nobody sees this video, I have a new channel. The views are extremely limited. I understand that. But like I say, once again, all it takes is one person to see it, the right person, and to pass information on, or put somebody on to something, and really that's what it's about. Shout out to my 2 subscribers. Well, here's the deal with my subscribers. One of them is actually me. I subscribe to myself. I picked up another subscriber yesterday. I personally believe is Steph Curry. So that's what we're rolling with. Okay, so as far as LeBron goes, shout out to Steph. As far as LeBron goes, the first thing that I said about his game is that, when he was making passes, he was leaving his feet. Usually, probably, I don't want to put a percentage on, but maybe half of his turnovers are him going into traffic and leaving his feet to make a pass. And you have a lot of guys, defenders that are quick, closing speeds, passing lanes, long arms, reaching everywhere. So you leave your feet, and you thought you saw a pass, and things close up quickly. So the first thing I said was, just don't leave your feet and maintain your dribble. And so the game against the Jazz, he did that quite well. Ended up with 14 assists. He did have a couple of turnovers, but it was a very clean floor game overall. The game against Minnesota, he did leave his feet a couple times, and it just gets you in hot water. It just does. It's a fundamental. So once again, if you're trying to hit the reset button, you can go back to, you're basically, there's some things that you can just get back on the checklist. So that was my first thing. As far you leaving your feet. Now here's the second thing, and now what this is like I do have a list. It's kind of long, but these are all little skill things where if implemented, if LeBron implements these things, it will change his game drastically. And even the first thing, if he doesn't leave his feet, his game changes. The second thing, and it's tied hand in hand with the third thing, but like I said, I'm gonna hold off on that. Of course, I want to try and raise my views up, improve my content, improve different things. I'm working on improving thumbnails and all that stuff. It's an education for me. It's a new endeavor. Just with anything, you get better over time if you work at it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm putting my work in, studying, and so going forward, little increments. I'm just learning. With this thing, the second thing for LeBron is actually working on dribbling. It's kind of like a mixed sentiment. Some people think LeBron can dribble fantastic, and some people think he can't dribble at all. Me personally, for a man his height, 6'8", 6'9", and his size, being able to dribble it's a huge part of the success of his career. For a man that size, he really does handle well, especially at the speeds that he moves at. Especially in his younger years, he moved end to end as fast as anybody I've ever seen. There's if there's a loose ball and it gets kicked out, nobody can change ends like LeBron James. It's just a fact. So he does have some kind of dribbling skill. But the reason I say working on his dribbling is because he can improve the purity of his handle. As far as what he's going through, when you start to get older, it's interesting that your brain tells you can still do stuff like you always did. and it'll almost send commands to your arms and legs, stuff like that, but they don't quite respond like they did before. So, and so let's say you're trying to dribble down the court. There's all kinds of things that are going on if you really think about it. You have your hand-eye coordination, your eyes, of course, surveying the court, your feet, any kind of side steps, any kind of, defenses come at you. You have to, do all kinds of turns with your body and whatnot. But, when you start to age, it's like so many different things are just like a fraction slower, a fraction different. So, let's say when you're 30 years old and you try and take off the ball, that's one thing. When you're 40 years old, you try and take off and it's like, oh, my first step was a few inches shorter than it was. Usually I have the ball here when I take my first step, but since my first step was short, all the little inches and millimeters, centimeters, they can all be off a little bit, and you can actually see, like if you watch slow motion close-ups of LeBron's handle, or even if you just watch regular time, like for me, that's, one of the things that I key on. He just doesn't cover ground like he used to. It's just not a smooth thing. I can see all the little tiny things that are off. That's what, what I focus on is all the tiny stuff. And once again, it's like what your approach is. If you sit there and say, I've been doing it all these years, I'm fine. That's something that can be done too. But if somebody is looking to improve their game, or if you have really lofty goals like being the GOAT, or if you want to shut people up, or you want to have your game refined, or maybe these are the things that he's been looking for his whole career, somebody to give him all the little tiny details about his game that he can sit there and listen and learn from. What's interesting is there was something that was going on, and I got into a comment section. I think it was a year before last, and I gave like a synopsis of Kevin Durant's game. It was he had his boardroom podcast, and so I got in the comment section hoping he would see it, or what I assume is that if as a pro athlete you have so much free time, if you have a podcast, you need to kill some time. You'll get in the comment and read what people are saying. And it was interesting. I wrote what I wrote, and then somebody replied basically saying, you need to show more respect. It's Kevin Durant. Like what the hell are you talking about? Like, dude, Kevin Durant has this and that. And I'm like, well, hold on a second, player. He can keep doing what he's doing, or I understand what some of the motivation is for KD. He wants to play basketball at the highest levels, the most purity, the most refinement, the most artistry. So it can either be like, my game is fine the way it is, or I can take to heart these things that you said, because the way I said it is, a real baller knows when another real baller is talking to them, and it doesn't have anything to do with, oh, he didn't make it to the NBA. Please believe that. But everything that I said was correct, and I'm not saying it was, I just thought it was like a fan of Kevin Durant, but my point still stood. You can either be like, I'm great, so I don't need to do anything, or I can sit there and look at it and think about it, and well, let me go out here and see if I can add this to my game, type of thing. And so in this circumstance, it's the same thing. what I'm pointing out is absolutely correct. Um, if LeBron worked on his handle, it would pay huge dividends. Um, and also it coincides with what I do, which is build game, build players. Um, Everything for a reason. Everything uh, it's all tied together. Um, Now, one thing is, Phil Handy was with the Lakers for some years. You always saw videos of him working with LeBron on different things. And now Phil Handy, you never know what's really going on unless you're there. But I'm assuming that Phil Handy is not with the team or around. Now, so what I'll do is I'll just say what I think that LeBron could do. And what it all has to do with is, of course, LeBron has large hands, but it's about incorporating fingertip control in his dribble. When you see somebody that can really, really pat the rock, it's all about fingertips. A lot of times when like I said, when I watch LeBron and I look at the slow motion and stuff like that, a lot of times his fingertips aren't even on the ball when he dribbles. He just has, with the size of his hands, he can just guide the ball wherever he wants. But it's, once again, I don't want to insult his playing skills at all. But like I said, when people that can really pat that thing, it's about fingertips. And so, what LeBron can do is concentrate on fingertip control, do a little dribble. All you need is a few minutes, a few minutes. You don't even have to do it on the court. You could do it in your hotel room if you want to. And I'll get into that in another video. But, if he works on his fingertips, and fingertip control, and really works at it, and not just, like 5 minutes one day and I'm good. This is something, these things that I'm talking about, if you work at them, it can absolutely take you to different levels. So if LeBron heard about this, or somebody told him, check this out, this stuff really works. Like I said, these things that I say, it works like magic. So you think about it, you have LeBron now. He's got the ball. He's going up the court, doing what he does. You take the first thing, which is don't leave your feet, and then you add a second thing, the fingertip control, the improved handle. You take someone that has historically had a great floor game, and you take it a few notches up. The whole thing about having a great handle, when you do handle the ball a lot, is, you always want to be able to get to any spot you want to on the floor with the ball. The better your handle is, the more efficient you are getting into spaces, setting up angles, doing whatever you want to do, running the court. The better your handle is, the more effective you are. And so, once again, this is just information I'm putting out there. And, it's not, this isn't just for LeBron. I mean, anybody that's watching, if you're a younger person and just listening to a video like this stuff absolutely works. Fingertip control. One thing I noticed, everybody says Kyrie has the best handle in the league. I have not heard anybody say anything different. I would never go out there and say that it's not true. But I will say that young man in Minnesota, I think his name is Rob Dillingham, he got one. a real one. So if Kyrie's number one, I got Dillingham at number two. And probably a very close number two. Dillingham is the real deal. You go watch his handle. And, you know, I know he has mixtapes and all that stuff on YouTube. But if you just watch him with Minnesota when he does get in the game, I think he was injured for the Laker game. But you talk about a string, having the ball on a string. I mean, he can just run in he runs into traffic with no worries at all. And if you get to reaching and starting to think you might get one off of him and all that stuff, whatever he does, because he's going to mix you. Just hope, whatever he does, pass, take a shot, whatever like that, you just hope it doesn't go in, because you'll be on Sports Center. No doubt. He's the real deal. That's the guy I have my eye on. And so, if you're LeBron, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm trying to get my handle like Dillingham or Kyrie. Kyrie's a little different. He just has a different thing that he does with the ball. So me personally, I wouldn't advise anybody trying to handle like Kyrie. He's in a whole different atmosphere, or however you want to say it. But the Dillingham kid, if I was young or old or whatever, what LeBron's doing, I would look at it and be like, I need some of that. One thing also about LeBron is he's the best I've ever seen at learning how to do something without necessarily having to practice a whole lot. He can literally just look at something. He can look at somebody doing something, and it's almost like in his mind, he's just saying, I can do that. And then he goes out and does it. Depending on what it is, I'm not saying he can do it as good as, certain people that have spent their whole lives working on this one thing. But, as far as, just grabbing something from somebody and just adding it to what they do, LeBron's number one. But anyways, this is all I have. Be interesting to see how King James bounces back. He has all the content creators on his head. He has the sports media on his head. They're trying to write him off. He's old. Is he done? All that stuff. But you know how it goes. So, for me, nothing more exciting than the next game, and that's tonight. And let's hope we get a great game. I watched some games. My college team, if I said they got hosed last night, that would be like the understatement of the year. I don't like complaining about officials too much, but sometimes things are just obvious. And then, of course, I was watching the Warriors last night. Basically, Steve Kerr left the court red in the face. And if he would have punched somebody in the face, I would have been like, yeah. You know what I mean? The way that game ended, I think Golden State scored like 2 points in the last 4 minutes. And I don't know. It's entertainment. I'm out.